What's up, Carolina fans? You're listening to the Carolina Sports Update. I am your host, Neil Ferris, here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We got a lot going on today. This weekend was not the best weekend for yours truly, with a lot of upsetting losses, but moving on from that, we're wrapping up ACC play, getting ready for some ACC tournament action on the men's and women's side of basketball, and eventual tournament action in the NCAAs. So we got some great professional hockey, basketball, and soccer going on as well. And if that wasn't enough, we still have free agency kicking off today. That's right, legal tampering period is open and moves are being made. So y'all be sure to stick around, and we will be getting into all of that here after a few messages from some of our sponsors.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for taking a moment to listen to the sponsors. We got a lot of folks here helping out the show, and we, couldn't do it without them. And to include one of our newest sponsors, Raw Nutrition Supplements. You can go to getrawnutrition.com. Use promo code IESR, and you'll get 10% off there. I think I mentioned before, I got a buddy of mine. He's one of my fellow soccer dads out there. I go for my son's games, and he uses them and really likes them. So it tastes great and blends really well. So go check them out. See what you think, and give them a try. All right. So I may know things are a little bit different this time, especially with my color coding. Typically, we start off with some Panthers talk. I've got the Panthers colors on there at the bottom, but not today. Today, I figure we'll start off first with some Carolina Hurricanes talk. There's a lot going on, as I mentioned at the top, with the Panthers and free agency. But I kind of want to give that a little bit of time to sit and simmer. I will be looking down, checking my phone, checking for those Twitter updates for new notifications. Yeah. There they. Oh my God. Some new posts from Ian Rappaport. Panthers aren't done. Adding Rams free agent defensive tackle, fixing up that defensive line. Bobby Brown, the third to their defensive line. All right, making moves. We'll find out what the details on that. I hope here soon. They were in earlier today on Milton Williams from Philly, and then got swooped by the Patriots. So I think Bobby Brown will do look at that here in a little bit. I think that's a good signing there too. I would have preferred either one of them, but we'll check that out later. Like I said, I want to leave some of that stuff to sit and simmer, see what happens over the next 45 minutes or so, 30 or 45 minutes or so, and then get back into some Panthers talk at the end. Anyway, let's talk about some Hurricanes. Hurricanes are on a power streak right now, and just all over the place. This is been an exciting couple of weeks now between NFL free agency that we'll be talking about, but also the NHL trade deadline has just wrapped up with the Hurricanes making more moves, including recently acquired Mikko Rantanen getting traded. Spent all of what was that? 4 weeks with the Hurricanes, and now is on his way to Dallas, to the Dallas Stars. So they'll be picking him up, and I think they extended him an 8-year contract, pretty lengthy contract for him, which I think is part of what he was looking for. Some discussions with him before about working out a contract with the Hurricanes and whether or not he'd be looking to stay in North Carolina, and said, he's looking at the complete picture, looking at what his family was looking for. And it sounds like, bottom line, North Carolina and Raleigh were just not what they were looking, where they were looking to settle and spend their time. So that's okay. They trade him to Dallas Stars. In return, they get a 2026 first and third round and a 2027 first and third round pick, plus Logan Steikovin, who has already made an impact, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, with the Hurricanes. So really, I guess in return, maybe not that bad of a return on that. A little short, it said again, on the length of stay, but and kind of when you consider what they gave up to bring him to the Carolinas, we'll see, I guess, long term now, whether or not that trade was worth it. That first trade was worth it, to see how those 4 picks pay off. A lot of people, I think, were expecting them to use at least one of those first rounders, if not both, maybe even to pick up another forward now this year before the trade deadline. But they didn't come off them. They kept them. They're going to hold on to those, and I think try to build down the line too. So they've got a good team now, a really good team now, to be honest, and looking to continue that build, get some new guys down the line, and keep it going. So after that, we left off last time. Hurricanes have beaten the Calgary Flames 2-1. That's a close game, which is something we've talked about before, is whether or not they can win those low-scoring close games, and they did it against Calgary, and then turn around and did it again against the Detroit Red Wings, taking another game 2-1, and then kept the winning going, beating the Boston Bruins 3-2, scoring the game winner with, what was that, like 18 seconds left to go in the game, and able to take down the Bruins. So our close game there. Let's see, I thought I had that up here, but I guess not. And then moving into their most recent game, playing the Winnipeg Jets, Carolina, taking down the top place Winnipeg Jets 4-2. With Jankowski, who's also recently acquired right before the trade deadline, about a week ago now. Yeah, I think about a week ago now. A few days ago, they picked him up, and he scored 2 goals. And you got Stankoven, who I just talked about, coming over from Dallas, also scored in that game, helping the Hurricanes get past one of the top ranked teams in the NHL, 4-2. Their next will be hosting the Tampa Bay Lightning. That is happening tomorrow night, 7:30. Like I said, that puts them on a 4-game win streak, and helps them push, further ahead of New Jersey there in the Metropolitan Division. So pretty far behind Washington, though. Washington sitting at 92 points. Carolina sitting at 80 points. But seeing in a pretty good place to be able to go into the Stanley Cup playoffs, and hopefully make a push there for the Stanley Cup here in a few weeks. All right. I don't want to rush, but I do want to make sure I get through as much of this stuff as possible. So let's see what's up here next. Let's see. We'll go ahead and move on from the Hurricanes, and we will move into the Charlotte Hornets, who have been having a rough go of it as of late. But now we've got some good news here with the Hornets taking down, the Brooklyn Nets, 105-102. Some great moves by Miles Bridges, who's been having a strong few games here lately. He had 26 points, 12 rebounds, and one very crucial block, that being the block of a potential game-tying shot from Brooklyn. So a lot of really good play from him. There's been talk here, recently about the Hornets, whether or not they're still in it. If they're, kind of giving it their all, so to speak, and really playing as hard as they could. but I think these last couple of games have really shown that they are. Prior to this game, they had a 1-point loss to NBA best leading Cleveland Cavaliers, which, like I said before, I don't follow the NBA probably quite as much as a lot of other people, maybe some of the listeners here. But surprised to me to hear Cleveland is leading the NBA without LeBron on the roster. So, but Charlotte almost took them down. Had 1-point loss. Bridges in that one had 46 points. So definitely gaining the effort and getting the minutes out of him has been really good. And then Charlotte, again, the last few games before this, some pretty tough losses. Not really quite. Let's see. I think before Cleveland, the Timberwolves, that was pretty lopsided. Lost 125 to 110. And then, of course, it lost to the Warriors 119-101. Now, some of these games starting to get into the double digits. I think that's where, a lot of those questions were coming in. How committed were they? How hard were they playing? They really fighting for what they could get. But now, these last two games, I think a little bit more fight, a little bit more up. Again, that loss to Cleveland was 118 to 117 by 1 point. And then the Nets, 105-102. Tonight, the Hornets will be in Miami, down here in Florida, at 7:30 tip-off time, going up against the Heat to see if they can get another, 2-game win streak. How many 2-game win streaks have they had? See if they can get some sort of a win streak going here. Longest one they've had, 3 games. That was back in January 15th through the 20th. Those were against Utah, Chicago, and Dallas. And then that's been the only win streak that they, 2-game win streak way back in November, the 6th and the 8th against Detroit and Indiana. They were put together 2 games. So let's see if they can get put together another win and get another streak going here. Try to get a little bit of fire going before we officially close out this season. All right. Let's see where we're sitting now. All right, we'll move on from there. We've got some Charlotte FC, some MLS to talk about next. Unfortunately for us, this one did not go so well, as Charlotte FC dropped a match to Inter Miami, 0-1. Not had a chance to sit down and watch this. I should probably bring my son in. He actually sat and watched this whole thing. I was out running around with my wife. Had every intention of getting back here, watching through that. But between the free agency stuff going on, trying to get set up for the rest of this podcast, and trying to adjust to the loss of an hour for daylight savings time. And anybody else still trying to recover from that? Because I have been dragging all day today. Trying to get myself back on track, caught back up and doing my things. But man, I tell you what, it is hard to get situated after that spring ahead and losing an hour for daylight savings. Fall back, a lot better. I'll take that extra hour of sleep all the time. But this one, man, I completely forgot it was coming. I stayed up a little later than I probably should have, and now I've been paying for it. Yesterday and today, but yesterday was not able to get a chance to sit down and watch this game. I still want to go back and look at it, but kind of not the best game, not the best look for Charlotte in this one. About the 38th minute, Miami's goalkeeper Oscar Story was sent off with a red card. So then they had to couldn't even sub in their regular backup who was out with an illness, and so they had to sub in their third string goalie, and in order to do that, obviously had to play down the man on the pitch. And Charlotte at that point still couldn't get really a shot on goal. They had, I think it was 8 shots total. but none of them actually on goal. So let's see. That's not what I'm looking for. So not the best look, not the game we wanted to see from these guys down here in Miami. Really hoping to get, you always want to at least get that draw that gets you points. It'll get you a point at least. But to take a loss to a 10-man team with their third string goalie and getting, no shots on goal. No shots on goal, 9 shot attempts, but none on goal. That's not what you want to see. 13 corner kicks. That's a tough loss to have to take. So they dropped to 1-1-1. They have 4 points. They are sitting just north of center in the MLS standings, right behind DC United. Their next up will be against FC Cincinnati. They'll be on the 15th this week at 7:30. So weird chirping on Twitter coming out of fans of FC Cincinnati. I'm trying to tear the team down for being excited about bringing in Zaha, a couple other players, and I don't get it. I honestly don't understand. I know also coming at us for talking about the Fortress, calling the bank the Fortress. Seems to make some sense to me. And I guess Cincinnati claims they're the original Fortress. I have no idea why they would take that claim. Also, they're the original Queen City. Hey, I just don't get it. I don't know why the weird sudden upsurge of hate Cincinnati has for Charlotte, but they'll bring it on. We'll see what happens on the 5th and see who's got the better team then. All right. I'm going to take a quick break here. We're hitting about 25 minutes now. We're going to do a couple more quick drops for some of our other shows. And then when we get back, we'll start talking some college basketball, looking at men's and women's basketball. Also going to change things up just a little bit in how I do this. I think I want to kind of change this going forward in general. But instead of just sitting here all the time, especially on the college sports, giving just straight score reports and quick recaps, I really want to try to just focus on the main ones and give some more thoughts, some more perspective, a little bit more, hopefully a little bit more insight. We'll see what kind of insight I can give on this. And then so I'm not just sitting here rattling off numbers to you guys and telling you what you've probably already seen, what you may have already even watched yourself, and give a little bit of what I'm thinking, my feedback. And if you guys have your own thoughts and feedback, you can start throwing those up in the comments, especially if you're watching on YouTube. Start throwing in your comments, and I'll get those up there. And we can actually talk a little bit more about what we think is going on with these teams and how things are, vice just sitting here recapping what happened and how it happened. I want to start moving away from that a little bit. So you'll see that here in the next segment, where I'm not going to sit here and give you a rundown of every game. I'm going to kind of hit the highlight games, which, spoiler alert, UNC is one of them. And then talk a little bit about what's coming up next for basketball. All right, y'all. I'll see you after these couple of drops.
The roar of the crowd, the drama and pageantry, the adrenaline rush and decadence of the world of professional wrestling. Join yours truly, the SoCal Saint, for the best pro wrestling podcast going today, the IE Wrestling Show, exclusively on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Join us every Wednesday from 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, every Wednesday, the IE Wrestling Show. It's just too woo!
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Carolina Sports Update on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We're shifting modes now and getting into some college basketball action. Let's see here. Let's update with our good guys. All right, we got that going for us now. And all right, so as I mentioned at the top, at the best weekend for your host here, UNC playing Duke Saturday evening. It was a wild ride. I was standing the entire game. As Willie Durham says, go where you go, do what you do. And that is exactly what this guy was doing. Every time you can ask my wife for these super close games like this, I am up and about, pacing it back and forth. And I don't want to say I'm a wreck, but games like this, I am kind of a wreck. What are you going to do? Let's see. Why can't I not find what I want? There's the one I want. Okay. So UNC played a really tough game, got down early by 15 points there to Duke, and then had a great rally. Managed to get Cooper Flagg into some foul trouble, I think is what really helped lead to that rally. Closed out the first half, only down by one. Had a better chance than I thought they gave themselves to go up by one. Had 4 seconds left in the half. RJ Davis brought the ball down the court. And rather than try to get down as fast as possible and get kind of a easy layup, 2-point, get basket off, kind of sat back for a moment and tried to create a little space and get a 3-point shot off. I'll give it to him. He was feeling it. He had a pretty good stroke going there in the first half, especially from the three, just off the front top of the key there. But honestly, I'm a little surprised that they didn't try push the tempo a little bit more and try to get a quick 2 off, just to be able to go up by 1. But then they came back out second half, exchanged a couple baskets with Duke, went on a little bit of a run. Should go on a nice run, got up by as much as 7. And then I don't know what happened at that point, but Carolina started to sputter, it seemed like. Lupin was playing well. He's playing a lot harder. He's going to the basket strong, where he hadn't been as much in the first half. Withers was doing right. Carolina was using a lot more pace. They were driving and getting into the lane a lot faster. They're putting a little bit more pressure on Duke down low. And then all of a sudden, to how they were playing in the first 10 minutes of the game, they started bringing it down, trying to set up and just weren't able to convert. Duke took advantage. Flagg came back in, really started beating up on them, started pressing it down low, doing Duke things, and took over the game, used 3 really strong runs to push their lead out to double digits, and ended up beating Carolina there by 13 points. Last time we went through this, I think Carolina lost by about 13 or 15 points. And I mentioned back then, the game wasn't even that close. They were in that game. They were getting blown out by as much as almost 30 points at one point. Carolina just managed to trim it down a little bit in the second half when Duke took their foot off the pedal. This time, I think the game was closer than what the final score was, even though it was kind of similar scoring at the end. But like I said, not a great game for UNC. For starters, just losing that game to a rival like Duke always hurts, always tough, especially when you're up in the game. And then knowing that this was about as close to as a must-win game for UNC as you can get to be able to get into the tournament. By all accounts, reading Twitter, reading people who actually matter on Twitter, again, they're looking at their thoughts and opinions. It's UNC team, the way they played the last 3 weeks or so, they have been playing as a tournament caliber team. Unfortunately for them, that's mostly been in the last 3 weeks. You got to play that way the entire season. You got to build that record. You got to build that consistency. You got to get those quad one wins anytime you can. They've only got one of those. That was against UCLA when we thought they were making a little bit of a comeback at the beginning of the season after a couple early season struggles. But since then, they have not done very well in the big games when they needed to. And honestly, that's what you need, what you have to show and what you have to demonstrate to be able to get into the tournament. They're going to need a deep run in order to outright win the ACC tournament at this point if they expect to make it. Like I said, they have a chance if they can get a good run into the ACC tournament, but it's looking pretty slim because who they would end up facing, not the strongest of teams. Obviously, no real quad ones there. Let's see. We'll just take a quick look now, kind of transition I'll transition a little bit into some ACC tournament talk on the men's side. So you're looking at UNC with that loss to Duke. They will now sit at the 5th seed. If they had won, it'd actually would have been the 4th seed. Would have gotten a double bye. But now sitting at 5, they will play the winners of Pitt and Notre Dame on this Wednesday, the 12th, 2:30 p.m. So right smack in the middle of the afternoon this Wednesday. Great timing there. If you grew up in the Carolinas, this is the time that the TV comes in on the cart and you get to watch some ACC tournament action during your afternoon periods. But Duke, with that win, they locked down the ACC regular season championship and also the number 1 seed in the bracket. They get a double bye. Yeah, they get a double bye and will be playing the winners of Georgia Tech and Virginia on Thursday, the 13th at noon. Wake Forest, let's see, let's go Clemson. They beat, I think it was Virginia Tech this week. Good game for them. Expected them to close out the season like that, and they did. That's like what I'm talking about. I'm not going into the blow-by-blow for that game. They're expected to win. They won. They take the number 3 seed. They also get that double bye. And let's see, they will be playing the winner of SMU and either Florida State or Syracuse, who will be opening up the ACC tournament on tomorrow at 7 p.m. Then they'll go on to play SMU. The winner of that will go on to play SMU on Wednesday. And whoever wins between them get Clemson Thursday evening, 9:30 p.m. That's going to be on ESPN2. Following that, you're looking at Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons, after a strong but not great season, sitting at the 4th seed. They will get the winner of UNC and either Pitt or Notre Dame. So you're looking at Carolina and Wake Forest, their odds for making the NCAA tournament now, 1-3 shot, hovering right somewhere in the 30% range. Some things are giving them a little bit more of an edge, especially for Carolina. Trying to take into consideration that their quad one losses they did have weren't against like barely their quad one teams. They were top 10 teams, twice to Duke, number 2 team in the nation, one to Auburn or Alabama, who's been the number one team in the nation at one point. I think our loss was to Kentucky. So some teams with some decent records, some good pedigree, and with who were previously ranked or previously and currently ranked pretty high, Clemson being another one. All teams with strong records. So it's not like they're losing to the worst teams. Plus, I think they're starting to take into consideration a little bit of how they've been playing the last month or so. But still, even with all that, you really got to imagine it's going to take, obviously, taking a game past Notre Dame or Pitt, which Carolina lost to Pitt in the regular season. That's hurting them right now. And then they've got to play Wake Forest, who they lost to earlier this season, also hurting them right now. They played against those 2 teams like they've played the last couple of weeks. That'd be 2 more wins, and they'd probably be fairly solid to get into the tournament. But now, like I said, got to play like that the entire season. You can't just wait till the end to try to turn it on. And then following that, they would likely meet up with Duke in the semis on Friday. Chance to maybe get revenge, but I just don't know if they got the team to get through it. Like I said, they played tough. They rallied in the first half. They got up in the second half, and then it looked like they just ran out of steam, and they just weren't able to keep the momentum going, even in Chapel Hill, even with being able to rotate out some players and some guys getting some good minutes. They just weren't able to keep up with Duke, who just kind of ended up walking away with that one. So they would have to, I think, take down Duke in the semis, which would get them to the championship game. And I think that's where I've said before, if they could get the championship, definitely now if they can get the championship, that might get them in. Some folks might want them to actually outright win the championship as well, so they get the championship bid. But who knows? It's going to be a tough road. Wake Forest probably sitting in a similar spot. If they're able to hold off North Carolina there in the quarterfinals and make it to Duke and get past Duke, then they might end up having that same shot that North Carolina has. All right. So that ends. Oh, no, that does not end. Let's talk real quick, close out the regular season for our guys down south, the South Carolina Gamecocks, who finished off their season, unfortunately. I don't have a banner for them. Sorry. Let's do this. Copy. Bam, bam, bam. Paste. All right. I do have that. For the South Carolina Gamecocks, finished off their season, unfortunately, with a 10-point loss to Tennessee. And they will go in. They've got 2 wins on the season. Let's see, and they also lost, unfortunately, to Georgia. That was a 9-point loss there. So we'll go in, finish the regular season 2-16 in the conference. They will get into. Oh shoot, I'm not even close to time. My gosh, man. Oh, so awful today. So much going on. All right, let's get back to South Carolina. South Carolina finished SEC regular season 2-16, going into the tournament. That also starts this week on the 12th. They will play Arkansas in their opening round match, who is one of the wins that they have in their conference. They beat them 72-53 earlier. Hopefully they don't take that and play a little too arrogant. Hopefully they bring kind of bring the heat and continue to play hard as we've seen them play throughout the season. They had tied it up with Tennessee at halftime before, Tennessee was able to pull away in the second half. So hopefully they bring that same kind of energy, bring that same kind of fight, able to defeat Arkansas in the first round, and make a little bit of a dent, make a little bit of progress there in the tournament. I don't expect them, to go very deep or win it all, or of course, but it would be nice to see them able to pull off a couple of wins there in the tournament. All right. One more thing before I forget, which I can't believe I almost forgot this. We're not done yet with the ACC. Sorry for jumping all around on you guys. NC State, their season comes to a dreadful end. They lose 70-72 against Miami. Last place in the ACC. Tie ball game going down to the final seconds, and Miami with the shot to win the game misses, but gets followed up by Brandon Johnson, who slams it home for the final 2 points of the game, and of both of their seasons. So here's a new thing that I wasn't aware of. I think with the ACC going to one super conference now instead of two sub conferences, the ACC tournament actually does not bring in all the teams. It is only a 15 seed, right? 15 seed tournament, and you've got 18 teams. So the bottom three teams do not make it into the tournament, and the first of those bottom three is NC State. They might have had a chance. I'm not 100% sure to see their team. Man, I don't know how it worked out between, let's see, NC State. Did they play Cal? They did play Cal. They lost. So they still would have, even with the win, they would have lost it. If they had won this game, they would have been tied with Cal. Both 6-14, both 13-18 overall record. But Cal did beat NC State 65-62 earlier this year. So I think that both times, being twice, actually 65-62 and 74-62. So with those two victories going to Cal early in the season, I think NC State still will have been on the outside looking in. But NC State does not make it into the ACC tournament this year after winning it last year and going to the Final Four in the NCAA tournament. And with that, head coach Kevin Keatts is fired as NC State finishes out the year 5-15 in the conference, 12-19 overall. Really sad way to see the season end for those guys. And we will be watching here. I'll be updating as much as possible once we find out who NC State's looking at to replace Coach Keatts. All right. Let's roll it into real quick. What am I going to do? Let's do this. There. That's good enough. And we'll go back to here. And let's talk a little bit more. We'll do a quick wrap up. Let's see. I already talked bracketology, so we won't talk that. So we'll talk women's basketball. Unfortunately, just a quick rundown for us here. Like I said, I want to get into some of this Panthers talk for the last part of the pod. But women's basketball, what a freaking finish for ACC women and SEC South Carolina. So Final Four of the ACC tournament had Duke, UNC, and NC State and Notre Dame as the last team. So great representation by the Triangle. Really playing strong, getting basically all three teams into those Final Four spots. So that broke down. NC State was able to take down UNC 66-55. Again, a heartbreak for me there. But NC State definitely, with the stronger game, played a lot harder. Duke was able to take down Notre Dame 61-56, which set us up for a Duke NC State championship game Duke prevailing there 76-62, win their first ACC tournament. I think it was since 2003. Let's see here. Let me try to go back. See if I got that. I think I got that set, but I think it's first since 2013. I've lost that stat. Okay. But they will should see all four of those really teams again, but those three teams in particular representing the Carolinas in the NCAA women's tournament. Let's see, Selection Sunday for that coming up on March 16th. But before we talk that, let's see, South Carolina, after going down earlier, I think it was Texas who beat South Carolina at South Carolina, ending their home win streak, defeated number 1 Texas in Greenville, South Carolina in the SEC tournament championship, 64-45. Just kind of put on a clinic. That is quite the win over the number one ranked team, and it will likely earn them the number 1 seed in the tournament. But we'll find all that out come Selection Sunday. Let's see, NCAA. Yep, going for the 16th. Expected. Some of our teams expected seedings. South Carolina. Again, at number 1. Let's see. Looking at probably Duke, a number 3 seed. It's looking really good for them. UNC is looking at possibly a number 4 seed. I think we're looking at NC State will probably be a number 3 or 4 as well. Can we find them on here? Nope, not there. Where did NC State go? There. Nope. NC State, a possible number 2. I don't know if that's going to shake out that way. Duke will probably pick up that number 2 after defeating NC State in the tournament, and probably see State get the number 3 seed. All right. So we're going to take another break and then come back and finish things off with some Carolina Panthers talk. I'll stick around one more break, and then we'll get into some free agency banter. There we go.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernick, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Everybody, this is Tim Aaron Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of thunderous spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, everybody. So welcome back. Like I said, let's get into some Panthers free agency talks. I got a little bit of a banner here that I'm going to run. But I don't know, but it's not obviously up to date. So much has been going on, and I just have not been able to. Okay, there we go. There. Thank you. All right, and then just not been able to keep this thing as up to date as I would like with everything that's going on. All right. So over the weekend, a couple of the easier ones, and those are the ones that I've got here down below. Yep. That's so cheap too. Okay. Tender, offensive guard, center, Cade Mays, and re-sign Austin Corbett, both on a one-year deal. Cade Mays looking at a little over $3 million for his year. Never did find out the details on the Austin Corbett's signing, but I imagine it's going to be not too dissimilar. Good enough moves, I think. Both played well. Corbett hasn't played much, but when he has, he's been pretty good. Played well enough as the Stinner there to start the season off until he got injured. And then Cade Mays took over and played well down the stretch, kind of earned himself that spot. So looking good for him to bring him back. But neither one to me really like a standout. This is our guy at center. And kind of going into last year, I felt nervous about that last year. Fortunately, it kind of worked out for them, but I think trying to roll the dice like that again for a second year in a row, not the best idea. So we'll see how it goes. I would prefer to have somebody who was a dedicated, this is our guy at center, but we'll see how it rolls. And then from there, we also got re-signing Thomas Trimble. I know a lot of people have been down on this deal. It's a 2-year deal, $10.5 million base salary with an extra $5.5 million, just 16 total, or another 5.5 in incentives can give a max for next 2 years. So yeah, on the face of it, if you look at it as a $16 million deal for 2 years, you're looking at $8 million a year. I get why, I'm super excited about that for production that he's put up so far. However, I think when you look at on the base, 10.5 over 2, so just a straight over $5 million per year. I think what he brings, the stability he brings, and what he can be, and what we've seen him be with Bryce Young, I think is well worth it. And it keeps a steady, proven guy in the on the roster. We still have Sanders. We still have the option to go out and get another tight end, either in free agency. Evan Ingram still sitting there. The last I knew. Let's see. Who's that? That's Pats. Okay. That's not us. Terms with former. Oh, yep. So that's the next one I got to talk about. All right. So, let's see. Where am I? So I think it's a pretty safe bet to bring him back in. And I'm not too hung up on the $5 million a year to bring him in. I think we'll see his production go up. I think we'll see him get used a lot more in the passing game, and those numbers will be well worth it. I know people are down on the fact that we feel like we have limited cap space this year because it's under 30 million. I've seen anywhere from 23 to 28 million. Next year we have at least 150 million. The year after that we have like 120 million. So we've got space in the future to be able to sign the players that we need. I know that's going to involve signing some of our current players, but I think we can do that and get away with it. One of those players that we've re-signed, actually, let's see if I pull it up, is cornerback J.C. Horn, who has, no secret. He has struggled to stay on the field, I think, from time, especially in the beginning of his career. But these last 2 years, he has played really well. Let's see. This is not at all what I was looking at. Has been able to play really well these last couple of years, and I think has earned this contract extension. I think it's an extension of 4 years for $100 million, which again sounds like a lot, $25 million a year. I kind of want to see that. Let's see. Oh, there's that too. I kind of want to see how that works out as far as his 5th year. If they kind of roll his potential 5th year option into that or not. All right, let's see if I can actually bring up that. There we go. Bam. J.C. Horn. Yep. All right. So he was set to hit his 5th year this coming year, and now they've extended $100 million, $70 million guaranteed. That makes him the highest paid defensive back in history, but it does lock up a foundation piece for us. Now, this is much better. Okay. Does lock up a great piece for us. I think when he has been out there, which, like I said, the last 2 years, he's been out there a lot more. This last season, he played, as far as I know, through the entire season. I don't recall him missing much. And I know the year before, he missed a few games, but I think especially down the stretch, a couple of those games he missed were games we really thought were they were lost games anyway. It was a lost season. To be perfectly honest, I don't know if he was, had the decision of, I could play through this injury that I'm feeling right now and gut it out. Normally, I could, but in this situation, with the way things are, with the way the season is going, what our expected outcome is, I'm not going to risk injuring this any more than I have to. So I think he sat out 1 or 2 games towards the end to make sure he took care of his body and then put himself in danger. So to me, worthwhile signing. Again, I don't know if that $100 million is stretched out only over the 4 years, or if that includes his 5th year, which obviously brings down the APY quite a bit. All right. And then from there, the Panthers continued to work on the secondary, signing Trayvon Moehrig off the Raiders. Safety from the Raiders to a 3-year, $51 million deal. We mentioned before, the Panthers are losing 4 of their safeties, all four of their safeties. So we got one back now, and that's going to help out a lot, obviously. But still going to have to make a couple more moves. I honestly won't be surprised to see one of those Panthers safeties come back at the end of the week or begin sometime middle of next week when free agency is fully on. Because again, this is the legal tampering period where, yes, we can talk to and make contract agreements, but they can't actually be signed until I think Wednesday afternoon, maybe Thursday afternoon, when actual free agency actually opens up. So we could still see some of this change maybe. Wouldn't be unusual. In fact, Panthers were about to close in on defensive line Milton Williams. Right? Yeah. Earlier today, had a contract in place, had an agreement in place. Was getting all the notifications for it, and then the Patriots came in at the last minute, outbid the Panthers, and he will be going to New England winters instead of Carolina summers. So I guess good on him for taking the money. So Carolina ended up signing instead Bobby Brown III, as I mentioned at the top of the program, tackle from the Rams on a 3-year contract for $21 million. So that's a pretty good deal, I think, right there. $7 million a year. He will be taking over at nose tackle for Carolina. But I've seen some pretty good tape on him. I think we'll try to get in and talk a little bit more, since I'm running out of time, about some of these signings next week. But some good film, some good development for him over there in Los Angeles. And looking forward to seeing him. Man, 3-year contract, that's really good. A lot of these contracts, not excessively long, but also, 2 years, 3 years, things like that. Again, Horn on a 4-year deal. So they've got some legs to them, and it should help keep this defense intact for the next several seasons. Also, coming to an agreement with Pat Jones II, linebacker from Minnesota. He'll be coming in for 2 years on a $20 million contract, and will be able to help provide a little bit of edge rush support to Clowney and Wonnum. And let's see, he had 7 sacks last year, so another pretty good signing there. So we got 2 guys along the defensive line, 2 in the backfield, in the secondary. So some pretty decent moves so far today for the Panthers. Deal with Williams. Yeah, with Williams. But a good bounce back, good replacement with Bobby Brown instead. Let's see, who else we got? Anybody else? Terms with former. Yep, Patrick Jones. All right, that's all I've got for those guys. So we will continue to watch this play out for the rest of the day. Hopefully, we see a couple more movements. I had a slide all built out for some kind of off-season targets for the Panthers. Those guys have flown off. There's still, a fair number on here. I'll throw that up here real quick. There we go. Like I said, is off for that one. We still got a couple of the cornerbacks staying out there. Carlton Davis, Byron Murphy, as far as I know, still staying out there. Paulson Adebo out there as well. See Dre Greenlaw still sitting there from San Francisco, I think is still available. Even if we want to go after another safety, Holland and Reed, but I think with the money we've paid to Maury, we're probably not going to be targeting those guys. I'm probably looking at someone a little bit further down, a little bit later this week on a smaller deal. So again, we'll see how that goes for those guys. Meanwhile, but I think that's going to about wrap it up for me today. Be sure, if you like the show, check out the Supporters Club link down there at the bottom. Check it out on my Twitter, as on the Carolina Sports Update Twitter as well. Drop a couple bucks or so and become a supporter. Help boost the show. Help me get some stuff on the wall. I'm still working on it. I got IKEA stuff sitting over there in the corner. I just need to get it up there. I'm not gotta level it out, center it up, make sure, get these stupid pieces of tape off, and get some Carolina gear up on the wall so we can have something going on besides purple walls and blue tape. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Hope you all have a good one. Hope you all have a good one.